Hey everyone, let's take a deep dive into the evolution of Spider-Man's suit in film. Before we dive into the film costume designs, let's take a quick look at the history behind the original Spider-Man suit in comics. Also, I feel like I need to change. Okay, I think this is a little better. Traditionally, Spider-Man sports a red and blue spandex suit lined with black details all along the red parts that look like webs. While the costume usually has a black spider emblem on the front, the design and shape of the spider can change depending on different versions of the character. So, who designed the original classic look of Spider-Man? Debuting in the Amazing Fantasy number 15, the Spider-Man's classic look was created by illustrator Steve Ditko. Stan Lee originally asked artist Jack Kirby to create and design the web-slinger's look, but ultimately, Kirby's drawings didn't quite match Stan's vision for the character. Moreover, we have Steve Ditko to thank for the classic Spider-Man design that we first see in the Amazing Fantasy number 15. But that's not to say that Jack Kirby didn't play a pivotal role in designing the final look. Believe it or not, there's been rumors that the original Marvel design actually took inspiration from a Halloween catalog put out by Ben Cooper, a company that was well established for its Halloween novelties. In 1954, they released a catalog that illustrated a Spider-Man costume on the cover. If you take a closer look at the mask, you can definitely see how this design is similar to Marvel's Spidey. Both masks have the black outline around the eyes, surrounded by the lined web details. However, when asked about the comparison, Stan Lee says the costume reminded him more of the 1928 film The Spider, while Steve Ditko denied the comparisons altogether. While anyone could recognize Spider-Man's classic look by the red and blue spandex, Steve Ditko has actually confirmed that red and blue was never part of the original design at all. In the 2007 BBC documentary titled In Search of Steve Ditko, he revealed that Spider-Man's original suit was meant to be purple and orange. Purple and orange, talk about a Halloween-inspired look. On the topic of the original colors, Ditko said, "I'm sure it would have been just as popular even if it didn't have the suit colors we were originally looking for. But I don't know if the orange and purple were discarded because at that time they would have been printed darker and on cheaper paper. Or if they just saw that blue and red were more flashy and we didn't have a blue and red character in Marvel yet." Could you imagine our iconic web-slinging hero rocking purple and orange? You know, I don't think it would look half bad, but it's hard to picture Spider-Man any other way. Since the creation of our favorite web slinger, we have had a number of film adaptations showcasing him across our screens. While each Spidey suit always pays homage to the original comic book design, they have also found ways to differentiate from one another. So let's take a look at how the classic Spidey suit has changed in film, from the Raimi suit to the Amazing Spider-Man all the way to the many looks Tom Holland has sported in the MCU. Let's break this down by franchise, starting with the Raimi trilogy. The Raimi suit has been a longtime favorite among the Spider-Man fandom. Whether you favor it due to nostalgia or design, there's no denying that the OG Spidey suit does classic Spider-Man justice. In the 2002 film Spider-Man, the suits that we see Tobey Maguire wear across all three films was adapted by costume designer James Aikson, alongside special effects supervisor Tom Woodruff Jr. Many of the decisions that went into designing the suit not only depended on maintaining the image of Spider-Man as seen in the comics, but also on the ability to make the suit practical for Tobey and the stuntmen to wear. If we take a look at the suit, we can see that it's very similar to what we see in the Amazing Fantasy number 15, almost as if it was ripped right off the comic pages. But some of the elements that differentiate it as the Raimi suit are its lenses, spider emblem, and the webbing. Moving forward, we'll notice that a lot of the prominent changes in each suit design come back to these three details. In an interview with comicbookmovie.com, Woodruff stated that they worked for months creating the many forms of Spider-Man's suit. Lots of thought went into the shape of the head form, the physique beneath the suit, the eye shells, webbing, emblem, and even the way the suit would move. When working on the eye shells, they considered many variations from comic book opaque that still allowed vision to translucent. All in all, the most distinguished parts of the Raimi suit are probably the raised webbing and spider emblem. These details on the suit were hand cut and essentially another layer added onto the suit. The decision to really accentuate those details essentially helped establish the Raimi suit as the blueprint moving forward. Now we jump to the Amazing Spider-Man reboot of 2012. The suit introduced to us here looks very different from what we were used to seeing in the original trilogy. This suit actually got a lot of backlash due to the design. It was very clear that the development of the suit relied more on computer technology and print versus handcrafting. Kim Barrett was a costume designer who worked on developing the costume for this film. In an interview, she stated, "I began with the idea that Peter Parker creates the spider costume in his computer. Mark wanted to present an electronic world with evidence of technology everywhere, so our Spider-Man suit needed to become part of this world." So in comparison, the Raimi suit was more dependent on comic accuracy and practicality, while the Amazing Spider-Man design was influenced by the surrounding environment in the film. The suit itself looks very cutting edge and vibrant with lots of texture, making it seem almost futuristic. The blue to red ratio of this suit is slightly different from Raimi's, and the legs on the spider emblem are a bit longer. The eye shells on the suit hold a similar shape to the previous suits, but with the insertion of yellow tinted lenses. Additionally, this suit incorporates web shooters into the design. Barrett has stated that the design of the web shooters takes after the designs of wide leather watch bands that have plastic covers to snap over the face. Furthermore, this design allows Peter to disguise his web shooters as a watch if the situation called for it. While the Amazing Spider-Man suit established itself as a new and alternate version of the Spider-Man suit in film, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit draws back to the original classic look similar to what we see in Raimi's films and Amazing Fantasy number 15. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit was worked on by costume designer Deborah Lynn Scott, who was tasked with reinterpreting a comic book accurate version of the original Amazing Spider-Man suit, but with the same screen printing technology used in the first film. The major difference between the first and second versions of the suit are the lenses. The second suit went back to the white opaque lenses originally seen in the Raimi trilogy, but take on a larger eye shape, giving Spidey a bit more of a friendly appearance. Moving forward to the MCU, this franchise has given us a number of different Spidey suits worn by Tom Holland as Peter Parker. There are actually about 6 versions of the Spider-Man suit that he wears across the MCU, but for timing purposes, we are going to focus on the Stark suit since it is the costume Peter spends the most time in. This costume, which has been dubbed the Stark suit, is featured in all of Spider-Man's appearances across the MCU prior to No Way Home. Even in Avengers Endgame, the Stark suit acts as the base for Peter's Iron Spider suit. Louise Frogley is the costume designer behind Spider-Man's first MCU appearance. Much like the suits before this one, the Stark suit was created with Steve Ditko's original Spidey design in mind, showcasing the iconic blue and red fabric alongside a spider emblem. However, this one is the smallest emblem that we've seen on screen, but more similar to the comic book version. This suit has evolved from Raimi's or The Amazing Spider-Man by incorporating a few extra details that we hadn't seen before, such as black detailing surrounding the torso, biceps, and calves, as well as the addition of Peter's web shooters. These web shooters are a bit more prominent than Andrew's as they wrap around the wrist instead of being built into the suit. What's cool about this suit is how much it's also evolved technically. For example, the Stark suit and many of the other Spider-Man MCU suits have features such as moving lenses and a built-in AI system, thanks to Tony Stark, of course. This suit also incorporates something new to the design that we hadn't seen in film yet: webbing. Frogley told Game Radar that Sony allowed Marvel to take a Marvel approach to it, which was more classic. So we get to see a classic suit with webbing, much like we see on the cover of Amazing Fantasy number 15. So, now that we've looked at how Spider-Man's suit has evolved between 3 different film franchises, do you have a favorite? Let us know in the comments, and if you didn't see your favorite, do not worry, because you might see it in the next video, since we didn't even get to Miles Morales, the stealth suit, the integrated suit, Spider-Ham, the final swing suit, and many more. Look out for future videos where I talk about all things Spider-Man, and if you don't want to miss out on the next one, then don't forget to swing by and subscribe for future updates on all things geek. Until next time, friends.